Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Terry. How are you? You might not be able to go off mute. Well, welcome. We're just going to give it a few minutes to see if anybody else is going to join us today.
Hi, Lisa. Holly, are you Holly from Canyon Road?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Lisa not pop on?
I thought I let her in.
Oh, there she is. Hi, Lisa. I wonder if a bunch of mics aren't working today. We're just going to a few more minutes. Thank you guys so much for joining us and taking out some time of your day to learn some information, and maybe, if you don't learn it, get refreshed so that you can remember it, because sometimes we tend to forget things over time. I think we're just kind of waiting to see if just a couple more people that said that they wanted to join, make sure that they don't miss out on anything.
Rochelle, I'm helping someone get in real quick.
Okay. Is everybody getting pretty busy today? I know it's my class, but you guys can unmute yourselves and answer if you'd like.
I'm back, Rochelle.
Okay. Hi, Jess. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Melissa, are we still waiting on a couple people that you thought were joining?
I'd say go ahead and start.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Like I said, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us and to hopefully learn a few things that you didn't know about some of the color that we're currently using in our locations. If you don't know me, my name is Rochelle. I'm one of your design team mentors, as well as a stylist alongside of you guys and manager and district leader. And helping me today is Melissa. I'll let her introduce herself.
So I'm Melissa. I'm also one of the district managers. I kind of have the roundabout area. And also behind the chair like Rochelle and Lisa and Jess. And we're just here to kind of help you guys with SuperSync.
Perfect. So obviously you guys know we're going to talk about SuperSync today. The reason we wanted to have this meeting and this class for you guys is because as we get new product in the salon, sometimes we don't get the new information and sometimes things change, sometimes it doesn't. We want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Plus, sometimes we get those new stylists that have never worked with the product before, and we want to make sure that they don't fall through the cracks and have to kind of ad lib their way through the color. Want to make sure that everybody knows the general use and some tips and tricks that we can share with you guys. We're also finding that that people aren't using it correctly, which can lead to one, we're missing out on some money, right? If they don't know that they can use it, but two, some of the colors aren't turning out quite the way that they want. So hopefully with the information that we're able to get to you today, that you'll be able to have more consistent colors and more opportunity to use these colors because you won't be scared or you'll have the knowledge of how to use it. Okay. So what's new, Melissa?
So what's new with SuperSync is it's been reformulated. It looks different. So it's a 3-ounce tube versus the 2-ounce tube. So they upgraded the formula. With the gray series, there was 8 shades, but I believe it's now 12. So those now just launched in the end of September, so they're available on the order screen to order. And we'll kind of touch on those. Those ones are for gray hair only and cannot be intermixed with the others. The rest you can intermix with the old SuperSync. We're getting the same color results. It's just been pre-bonded and there's more slick to it. So it's going to add shine and be easier to apply with your applications.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about SuperSync. So SuperSync is our alkaline demi line that complements our SoColor line for refreshing and things like that. Like Melissa mentioned, it has gone from a 2 to 3 ounce tube, which gives us less waste because sometimes, you need that extra 2 and more than 2 ounces, and that third fits on the shelf sometimes even better. That's just kind of from a management position. It has no ammonia in it, so it's definitely safer for the hair, less swelling on it. Vegan, there's no animal byproducts in there. And because it is pre-bonded, there's instant fiber protection, giving it some strength, and it also has extra conditioning polymers in there. Our SuperSync line is multi-dimensional, so you're going to get a lot of reflect, and you're going to see a lot of shine cutting through the color, which is awesome. No more dull colors. The regular SuperSync color lasts up to 28 washes. We're going to get a little bit more into the SuperSync Extra, but that does goes up to 24 washes. With SuperSync, it is used to tone hair, fill hair when you're doing some color correction and going darker. It's used on same level or darker colors that we're adding to the hair. We can use it for glossing and for gray coverage. The SuperSync line does contain some citric acid and glycine, which has helped to protect the hair strength and manageability. One of my favorite parts about it, though, is the smell. If you haven't used it yet and you didn't really care for the old one, the old one to me smelled like dirty socks. And this one has a lower odor on it and has a better fragrance so that when you're in the salon, it doesn't have so much of a chemical smell in the salon. So which is really nice for those who are more sensitive to chemicals and fragrances. So Super Sync and Super Sync Extra are both, you know, part of our Demi line. However, the Super Sync Extra is our gray coverage line up to 75% gray coverage, which is really cool. So the Super Sync will do up to 50% gray coverage, and the Super Sync Extra will do up to 75. If you haven't tried it yet, it is amazing. It's very rich in color. It has triple the dye load, so you're going to get that really rich embodied color. It does come up a little bit darker because you got to figure if you have 3 times as much dye in the same amount of space, it's going to be much richer. So it's going to appear darker. So we want to make sure that we're adjusting the formulation when we use it because it will come up a little bit darker. When we first had this launch, it came out with just the NNs, which is our neutral. And like Melissa mentioned, at the end of September, they had a few more colors come out. So now we have a few of the neutral golds and even one neutral ash, which is really cool. So when we had gone to a class earlier this year, they mentioned that they would be rolling out more and more colors as the technology comes available. They won't launch things until they know it's foolproof, so which is awesome. The Super Sync Extra is also ammonia-free and vegan. And like I said, it will last up to 24 washes if they're using the correct shampoos and temperatures of water and things like that. From this screen, you can kind of see the difference. I know most people will see these in, books and like that, but this really is true to show you how different the shine is on the hair. It is 2 times shinier than the previous sync color that we were using. So we want to make sure that we're letting our guests know that we're going to be putting that extra conditioning and shine back in their hair by using this product, especially when we're refreshing those root touch-ups. I fell behind. All right.
Okay, so how we're gonna mix it or use it, you always want to do the 1-to-1 ratio. In the last class, it came up. So I want you guys all to know you only use 10 volume with Super Sync. Do not use 20 volume with it. That came up in the last class. So you do equal parts. So if you do 1 part Sync, you're gonna do 1 ounce of developer. Some of you use scales, you can do that too. Just make sure it equals the same. So you're gonna apply to clean, dry hair. If it's overly porous, we wanna make sure that you mist it beforehand with the porosity control. It's gonna process for 20 minutes at room temperature. We never wanna use heat with it. You can apply it to damp hair, but the hair needs to be 80% dry. And you want to make sure you rinse it thoroughly when you're rinsing it out. If you use HD, you do not mix it with the others. They don't play together. And then when you're adding Cell Boost, it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So 3 parts Super Sync to the 1 part Cell Boost. And then you guys have the gray series now. So the original gray is in this pink box that you guys can see here. So these do not get mixed with the other ones. The old Super Sync came in, this is the 2 ounce tube, where this one is the 3. So these can be mixed together, where if it is the old not pre-bonded box, it is not recommended that they mix together. So it's gonna be more your black boxes. And I need to talk to Lana about that, if we're gonna phase these out or not. And then we wanna make sure you don't use any kind of metal with it. And then things we need to know ahead of time is we want to remember that it can shift one level in base. And we want to choose half a level lighter than what they're wanting to a level lighter, because it always deposits darker. And then it is recommended that you put Super Sync Extra on a different shelf. Eventually, once the stock runs out, they're all going to be a darker pink color like this one. That way you guys can identify them from the other Super Syncs.
Were you guys
Okay.
able to see those boxes, or Melissa, can you put them up closer to your camera?
Okay, this is the original one for gray hair. It will now be in this darker pink box.
And can you put them up on their side so they're long view up so that you can see the front, the long sides? Other way, flip them up. There you go. Is that easier for you guys to see? We're gonna have crickets.
You guys
It is
can
okay to unmute yourselves if
don't
you
have
want to ask a question.
Okay.
Okay. We want to make sure that everybody remembers as we get ready to start any chemical services and new policy coming up with the waxing, that we have them sign the chemical and service release form. It lets people know that we are putting chemical on their hair, and any chemical can have adverse reactions and undesired results depending on many factors. We want to make sure that everybody understands that yes, we are working with chemicals. If you have not seen the form that came out to show us exactly how they want us to proceed with signing the chemical release forms, please ask your manager and our district leader to make sure you guys get a copy of that, because the way that our company wants us to do it is when you pull up the form, you need to type your name in as the witness and put the quoted price next to it. What that means is you need to make sure you have that full consultation before they sign. Like I say, tell them that before they sign on the dotted line, because they need to know what the risks are as well as what the cost is before they get started. I know that it's a little bit of an inconvenience sometimes to have that consultation, then have them come back over to the computer, but we definitely don't want them having to sign that release form until you've actually had that consultation with them. But if you have any questions, please reach out to your manager and or district leader to ask more questions about that process. Okay, so we have had some frequently asked questions in the previous class as well as leading up to this class. So we're going to hit a few of them, and then we'll give you guys a chance to ask any of the questions that you might have. So one of the questions that I've gotten was, how has the formulation changed from Sync to Super Sync and all the way through it? And the formulation has changed in the fact that what will affect you and what you need to know is it's 2 times shinier. It now has the citric acid in it to keep it stronger, has a new fragrance, and it's in the larger tubes. Some of the other, was pre-bonded, but again, like Melissa said, some of those black boxes, those are not pre-bonded. So Super Sync has changed over the last, 5-10 years. So if you haven't been educated since we got the pre-bonded ones, that would be one of the things that has changed. But the pre-bonded one, it was pre-bonded prior to doing the Super Sync larger boxes.
And then one of the questions I got was how you could tell the difference. And again, the normal Super Sync is going to be the lighter pink boxes, where any of the gray series will start becoming the darker pink. That way you guys could tell the difference. And the lighter pink is going to cover up to 50% gray, where the darker pink is going to cover up to 75. I've used it quite a bit. It covers more than 75, but they won't come out and say it's 100%, because there's always that one customer who is more resistant and it will not take. We are getting close to 100% coverage. So one thing you guys need to think about is when we got So Color, and there was a difference with the 2 gray series. There was Dream Age and then the other gray series. Color Sync is gonna cover at the 50% like the Dream Age, where the extra coverage is gonna cover more like the normal gray series for us. So that's the difference between the two when you guys are thinking about it.
Perfect. Another question that we've gotten was, has the consistency changed? So my guess is a lot of people have started using it and they're starting to kind of wonder if what they're experiencing is normal. And yes, it has changed. It's much more creamier. It goes on the hair a lot easier. It glides. It's hard to explain it until you've actually played with it, other than to say it's a lot creamier. It has the added conditioners in there. So that's where all that extra shine is coming from. So you definitely will see a creamier from the regular pre-bonded to this new Super Sync. And it's even more creamier and more slick with the Super Sync Extra, with that extra dye load and the extra conditioners that it has in there as well. Lisa?
And then we want to make sure that you guys process it at 20 minutes with no heat. That still has not changed. And then Rochelle, you want to do the discontinued colors?
I sure will. I do want to touch up on one of the things is what hasn't changed, like we talked about earlier, is that it's still used for refreshing for those root touch-ups. If for the hair that's been faded, filling, glossing, all the same things. Nothing else has changed. It's just a better product itself. So we have some new colors, and then we have some discontinued colors. So the new colors that we have, they brought out the 9 Mocha Mocha and the 10 Mocha Mocha. Both are beautiful if you like the mocha lines. I love them. A 7cc and an SPM, which is the sheer pastel mochas. So much fun. In the Super Sync Extra, all of the colors obviously are new. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 NNs. So those are all your neutrals. And then they also came out with some neutral golds to kind of give you a little bit of warmth in there. They brought that into level 4, 6, 8, and 10. And so far they only have one neutral ash in the level 6. But if you look over, they actually did discontinue quite a few colors, and they still might be in your locations. So we can definitely use through them. I'm going to briefly run through them real quick, but I'll have you look at the screen. So they're the 5 and 7 AA, 4T, 4P, 7 VA, the 5 and 7 MM, 7M, 7 NV, the 5 and 7 NJ, the 11N, 3 and 10 WN, 4 BC, 4 RB, 10 CG, 8 RC, and 3 VV. But I'll have Melissa tell you the good news.
So we do have a little cheat sheet that you guys are able to make those colors if it's some colors you've used on your customers. So we'll email this out to the salons and to the managers. That way you'll have this little cheat sheet to go from.
I don't know how you guys feel, but I hate when they discontinue things and we don't know how to make it, especially those new 5 and 7 NJ that they just came out with and they just took it away from us. So I'm excited that we have the formulation for that. Oh, I'm pushing buttons here. So we added a couple of slides just to kind of show you, and we can get these all out to the salon, but these are all the shades that are updated through August. It doesn't have the final extra shades in the Super Sync Extra, but the first round are on here. But what this guy will show you is where each line or each shade lies. So all the cool colors and all the neutrals and all the warms and all the reflex. Kind of gives you an idea of an idea of what to use and when to use it, because some people don't understand that that the pearls are cool or things like that. So these kind of guides are a little bit fun to take a peek at. Different view is this one where it's for decoding is it's written the same thing. It's just more of a line by line item versus the little circles. And then, you know, future classes will be able to go into more formulating and how to use these things to come up with a way of formulating the colors we're looking for. And then how to use the color wheel and where all the colors lie. And I know you guys have a lot. All right, go ahead.
Just if you're using tonal control and super sync, keep in mind they do not melt well together. So if you're doing a color melt, it is not recommended using the two of them together.
They are two different pH levels. One's acidic and one's alkaline, so they definitely don't coexist together. But I know you guys will have a lot of questions about the tonal control versus super sync, but we'll hold those questions for another time that you can email us, because we're going to do some more classes coming up after the holidays, and one of them will be the difference between those and with SoColor as well. All right, so we did an overview of some of the facts that we know to be true and that we've been taught. We're going to open up the mics now for you guys to answer or ask any questions that we can answer for you that that we haven't gone over, or things that maybe you didn't understand, you want some clarification on.
And just before we take questions, I forgot why we would use super sync versus other color lines we have. You would reuse it to refresh color. If you're going darker, it's going to be better for the hair. Or if you stay the same level, if you're toning or filling for corrective color, if you just want to add gloss to the hair, or it also works for gray coverage. So now is your time to ask your questions.
Is this gonna shoot, what's the word I'm looking for? Replace the Dream Age? The super syncs?
No, it just gives you a different option.
Okay.
So the Dream Age is actually a permanent color line, and we'll give you that modern gray coverage, whereas Super Sync is our demi line. So different results with different.
Because a lot of times when
purposes.
they get color and highlights, and let's say they need a touch up, I like to use the Dream Age because it is a little more translucent. So they can go, you know, a touch up in between color and highlights. So the super sync now will cover more gray.
The Super Sync Extra will for sure. If you're,
Okay.
but if you're going lighter on your base, then you definitely would have to go with a permanent line and not with the Super
Well,
Sync
yeah.
or Super Sync Extra.
Yeah. Okay.
But we'll go dive deeper into that and in instances of where you would use Super Sync versus SoColor in a future class for sure.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I
we're
know
just
there's got to
gonna
be more.
kind of go down the list in case you guys have questions. So I'm gonna call on Terry Steele first because you're the first on my screen.
I'm not sure if he was able to unmute earlier.
You can always ask your questions in the chat box too. So there's another Terry with a star on the screen.
I think I'm good. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, my only thing, but you guys said you would cover in another class, is like when would be best to choose between using that or tonal control, for example, would be my question.
Yeah, so at the next class, we'll touch bases on those.
You know, the one thing, without kind of going into too deep, because we obviously don't want to open a can of worms, I'll have Melissa talk to you guys a little bit. She has a way of thinking about it with lipstick.
Okay. So if you think of lipstick versus lip gloss for those who wear those, your lipstick is going to be one solid color that covers your lips all the way. Where if you're a lip gloss or even a chapstick, it's going to be sheer and translucent. It doesn't deposit a lot of color. So if you're wanting color deposited, you would use Super Sync, where if you don't want a lot of coverage, you want to use the tonal control. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
So Jess is next.
I don't have too many questions. I know that I've used it to help cover gray and it was gorgeous. And my client likes to go back and forth from dark to light. So it was nice to know I didn't have to use a permanent to work through next time when we go lighter in the summer. So I definitely have enjoyed the gray coverage.
So Jess, since you've used it a little bit, can I ask you a few questions just so you can give your opinions and from your expertise on it? How did you find the fading on it?
So most of my clients have noticed that the fade, it's still has a little shine in it. It doesn't look so drab.
Have you noticed that it's less brassy? It's that weird, it doesn't have that weird, what's that word I'm looking for? I don't know, you know when So Color fades after you're doing the gray coverage for it?
Mhm.
How it has that kind of awkward, really brassy look. I haven't ran into an awkward color yet.
So
I guess.
You don't get the hard line grow out
Mhm.
that you would get with So Color. It's a gradual fade out with the Super Sync.
Yeah, which they've liked. I guess I haven't paid attention to the brassiness. I just know that every time I've used it, I've really liked it. I love the NNs. They're amazing.
Yes. I mean, they're very limited, but just for us to be able to have this technology in the limited amount, 12 colors that they have, we didn't have this 6 months ago. So for us to be able to even do it now is amazing. But when we're talking about fading is, permanent color lifts and deposits. So if we can just deposit, we don't get that weird fading because it didn't have to swell the cuticle as much to shift it as much. So that's why we get that kind of softer edge too. But I'm telling you, it doesn't fade as much as I don't think it fades as much as So Color does. So we've had some people that have had an issue with it starting to fade right away. And as long as they were going brown at first, we tried it and they're getting more washes out of it, which is really kind of cool. It says up to 28, but I think it's almost getting more than that. In some
Nice.
instances, as long as they're using the cooler water and the good shampoos. One thing that we didn't talk about because we were talking about other things is we want to make sure that you guys are recommending the correct aftercare. Okay, so Glow Mania and my mind just went blank.
The Instacure Food for Soft
Thank you.
are great.
Those are the ones that are recommended by Matrix to use after a color to keep it vibrant and to keep the integrity in there. You definitely don't want to not educate your guests on how to take care of their color because hair color is an investment. We've made sure that our prices are competitive, and if we're not teaching them how to take care of it, we're doing a disservice. Because they're going to spend, $100 or more on their hair for it to start washing out in 4 or 5 washes if we don't teach them how to use it correctly.
So the next one on my screen is Diana and Michelle. You'll have to hit the little microphone on your phone.
Do you have any questions? Well, I don't have any question.
And I think we lost Lisa.
I think we did too. Did anybody learn anything today or have it clarified to where they're gonna be more comfortable using it?
No. I have to work on it.
What was that?
I have to read it up again. I have to continue looking at it and concentrated on it.
So it's
Don't
something I can help you with, Diana, while I'm out at the salons. And then if you have questions, you can let me know.
I just have to go through the box and look at it and go through it and put it in my mind.
Yep,
Is it-
I'm visual, so when I'm out.
Yeah,
just
that's
grab
what it
me
is.
and I'll show you the difference.
Yeah, but Tina helps me too.
Yeah.
So she's pretty sharp.
Good. Good. So you haven't used the new Super Sync Extra yet then?
No,
Do we know that if everybody is on, if they have the Super Sync Extra in their locations already?
we don't have, right?
They
We
have
don't have
some of it, Rochelle.
Love it. Awesome. Enough to play with.
Yeah, have it. We don't have it.
So
Yeah, well,
I'm
we will
gonna
make sure we work on that.
challenge you guys to look on Attendee. There's a lot of great information on there. That's our Education Playground's new platform. And then if you have any questions, you can always reach out to Rochelle or myself. Rochelle's email is rochelle@gillsalon, salons with a S, .com. And then I'm melissa@gillsalons.com. And then we will have, coming up with Super Sync, I'm gonna do a color melt and the video will be uploaded on YouTube for you guys to see. So it will give you an option where it still looks like they have highlights in their hair. So if you'll keep tuned to the YouTube page, it will be uploaded on there next week.
Awesome. Do you guys find that logging on for these brief informational videos is helpful versus taking the time to do a longer one in person? I mean, obviously hands-on is great, but do you find that having us offer these is worthwhile?
Yes.
Awesome.
I have people who don't want to travel.
Okay, perfect.
Like me.
Are there topics that you guys would like